Toronto's podcast on the Canada's Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Céline Williams, international speaker, business strategist, and co-host of the Ontario podcast on Canada's Podcast Network. And I'm here at the Collision Conference in Toronto with Mike Gaspar, who's the COO and co-founder of Health Casa, and is going to have a conversation with me about the business and what you're up to in the world. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Pretty excited to be here.
I'm excited to have this conversation. So tell me a little bit about Health Casa and your journey to get to where you are now.
Because a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, please.
I married a chiropodist. So for those of you who don't know what it is, essentially a Canadian-trained podiatrist without getting into the minutiae. I also owned a small chain of foot clinics in the Greater Toronto area, as well as an orthotic manufacturing facility. So between my experience and my wife's experience, really know the industry. And sadly, it's pretty broken, and that's extended to the allied healthcare industry in general. And I'm not good with inefficiency. I saw a way to fix it for everyone. You know, that's what we're doing.
Amazing. So what does Health Casa do?
Tech-enabled healthcare platform delivering orthotics and podiatry services to patients at home or work.
You saw your first patient a year ago, May of 2018,
Yeah.
Is that right? How has it been going over the past year?
It's been going great. You know, month over month, it's growing. We're busier, but what's more important to us is the patient experience is so good that we have a very high referral rate, which is the best metric, in my opinion, to measure success.
That's fantastic. To bring Health Casa to market, was it self-funded? Did you get outside investment? Entrepreneurs are always having this debate, so I love to ask a question like this.
Self-funded until now.
Yeah.
We are about to go to market for our seed round, turn on the marketing machine,
Right.
and pour some gas on the fire.
But it's smart. You validated the idea, you got it out to market, and now it's the ability to, if we want to scale this in a particular way, that external funding lets you do that.
Yeah, and we want to do that by way of education, not just ads all over the place.
Right.
I don't need to paint a streetcar or a subway train. I want to teach people the preventative value of proper foot care.
You are born and raised in Toronto, is that correct?
I am.
So as someone who has run multiple businesses here, right? Because you were an entrepreneur before, this isn't your first dip in the pool.
It's not.
What do you find are the benefits of running a business in Toronto and also the challenges of running a business in Toronto?
Toronto's the biggest city in Canada, so it's an obvious one. We don't really need to touch on that. There's more people here to sell to use my service. The tech scene we're sitting here at Collision in Toronto, and they want to make it almost 3 times bigger next year. You can look at that like the international tech scene as a stamp of approval for Toronto as a city, as a work environment, as a startup environment.
Yeah.
Challenges, there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of stuff. So you're always competing for people's attention, be it for ads, for FaceTime, for money. That's probably the biggest challenge, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
And traffic. Traffic sucks.
That is probably the most honest response from a Torontonian I've had yet, because
If they didn't say that, they're lying.
I agree. That would probably be my number one is traffic for sure. Do you have a place you go or a thing you do to disconnect and get into that space of being able to have some perspective and thinking? Because it's not always easy in a city like this.
Work-life balance, when in the early stages of a startup, it doesn't exist. So I used to do CrossFit a lot. I don't do that right now, but that was my temple. Try to play a little guitar, don't do that enough. Used to run, don't do that enough. Meditate, don't do that enough. So I know what I should be doing, but I don't do it.
Yeah, but that's fair.
But I guess those are my go-to. Spend time with my kids, actually. My kids and my wife. Nothing else matters, you know? So that's actually number one.
Well, and I would imagine that when you're running a startup and you're going to market and validating and all that stuff, and you have a family, that it really becomes, do I need to play guitar or do CrossFit, or is my time that I'm not working, which could be all the time, better spent with my kids and my wife?
And that's exactly what's happened. That's why I've cut back on everything else, because that's priority number one. I'm not just doing it for myself, it's for them. I want something for them. I want them to say, hey, my daddy started Health Casa. Here's what they do. They're helping people.
Yeah.
And they do say that, actually, so it's
Yeah.
kind of cute.
Yeah,
I have two mini spokespeople.
That's perfect. There's a legacy in there, right? And legacy is important for a lot of people. And It's not a bad thing if that's part of the driver.
Right, and not in an egotistical way, but in a very genuine way.
Absolutely.
I want to leave my mark. We're not around here forever, and I'd like to put some good into the world.
Yeah.
It's as cliche as that sounds.
I don't think it's cliche at all. I think it's a really great thing to be aware of. What has been some of the best advice that you've been given?
Don't pretend like you know everything.
Amen, yep.
Don't think that you have to know everything. You don't. You know, your two of your best friends when owning a company are going to be your lawyer and your accountant. I'm not a lawyer and accountant, and if I try to be, I'll guarantee to make a huge mess.
Yeah.
I'm none of those people, so be able to delegate and be okay with that. Just be careful who you delegate to.
Sure.
You know, and they have to be a good person first and know what they're doing.
Prior to being a first-time entrepreneur, is there any advice you'd give that version of yourself now, knowing what you know now?
Start meditating earlier. Keep working out.
Yeah.
Because your health suffers, mental and physical, and we take our health for granted, I think, especially when we're younger. You hear all the jokes, like, oh, I just turned 30, I just turned 40, whatever, and I really feeling it now. I'm really feeling my knees walking around the show, like, you hear it all the time. Obviously, my feet feel great.
Right.
But
a little bit of a plug for...
Right, because of Health Casa.
That's right.
You don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others.
Yeah.
They teach you that when you're learning to be a lifeguard or swim instructor. Like, you approach someone, they try to pull you down, you're both drowned.
Right.
Right.
It's not selfish to take care of yourself first, and we often get into that. I don't want to be selfish, and it's not.
Yeah, I mean, there's also definitely a Canadian element in there, you know, where we're you know, running around saying sorry.
All the time.
If you're taking care of yourself and only yourself, then yeah, you're selfish. If
Sure.
you're taking care of yourself so you're better positioned to take care of other people, you're a good person.
Slightly more personal question, but what are the top 2 or 3 things on your bucket list right now? You're like, these are the next couple things I really want to do, business or not. I mean, it can be personal things.
Definitely want to go skydiving.
No, I love that.
Although with every year that passes, I'm scared of it more and more, but I'm really passionate about what we're doing, and it sounds like super rehearsed, but I feel like if we can get more people paying attention to their health and make it convenient, and we can also get the government to somehow help adopt different modes of access to healthcare, then we'll be a healthier country, we'll be a healthier society. And if I can play a role in that somehow, that's huge. Like, I'd die a happy man. It'd be cool to meet some interesting guitarists, I guess.
Oh, there you go.
I said I play guitar. My wife teases me. She says I have a man crush on Dave Grohl. Dave, if you watch this.
If you were doing what you do now for work, what would you be doing instead?
I don't know specifically, but probably something in healthcare or something that helps people use their time more efficiently to access X, but it would be for myself. It's hard to work for other people.
Yeah.
When you walk into their plan, sometimes there's some clashing.
What book are you currently reading, and do you have any books that you would recommend for our listeners and our audience?
I always have several books on the go. A really good book that I read, not business related.
Sure.
It's called Red Notice.
So good.
Yeah, like I missed my my subway stops so many times because I was just sitting there frantically reading because I needed to know. Michael Pollan, How to Change Your Mind.
Yep.
I don't think that's it. Without having to pull up my phone.
Those are good. If you had to pick one word to describe yourself, what would it be and why?
With every passing year, I try to be even more unapologetically true to myself because I'd rather someone not like me for me as opposed to liking some sort of facade.
Yeah. What is keeping you up at night these days?
Work, the Raptors recently.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I find being an entrepreneur, your brain never stops. So that.
Yeah.
Just thinking about everything, I'm watching TV and I put my phone down. You know what happens.
Yeah.
You pull your phone to do one thing and, you're checking your LinkedIn, you're responding to emails, you're checking your Google Analytics and the Collision app. And there you go. There's the next couple hours, and it's almost time to wake up.
Yep, I appreciate that.
I don't.
What is your favorite place to travel to, and why?
It's a toss-up. I've been to Whistler a few times with the family.
Yep.
And it's not specific when Whistler's beautiful. So I guess I'll say a ski vacation.
Yeah.
Because you're active, you're outside. It's family time. So I guess going back to the previous question, that's fun. I went to Thailand for my honeymoon. So special place in my heart there, and it's a beautiful place, and I'd recommend everyone check it out.
So the last question I have for you, which is a little bit more fun. We take you to a remote island, the middle of the ocean. There's one phone booth on it, no technology, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. You get one phone call for that phone booth. How long do you last before making a call to get off the island? And what do you do until that point?
Find food and swim. I love swimming in natural water, so that wouldn't be the worst thing. It depends how long I was there. I don't know how long. I feel like I might call right away, then gauge my actions accordingly, or adjust my actions accordingly. There's probably no bar, so.
Does it change if you can bring your own booze? If there's a bar, you're like, oh, I got weeks now.
It would be a different atmosphere, that'd be for sure. You know, if you had a bottle of tequila and the beach, you might not want to talk to people, but just chill there.
So Mike, where can our audience find you online? Where can they connect with you?
HealthCasa.com, all your favorite social networks, LinkedIn, email us. I'm all over the place.
And it's Health Casa's consistently on all of them?
Instagram is health.casa.
Got it.
Still trying to get Health Casa. And the other ones are just Health Casa.
Health
Facebook.
Casa. Thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me, Mike. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. And to our audience, thank you for listening and for tuning in. I invite you to join us at www.canadaspodcast.com, where you can listen, discover, and engage.